in particular, to determine how our preoccupations create areas of tension in our body. And chronic tension, of course, leads to chronic disease in some form or another. So when we pay undue attention to certain areas of our lives, when we are preoccupied or over preoccupied, or even obsessed by certain things, then it causes tension in that part of the body, in the part of the body that is symbolically represented with that issue. So tension, we can consider tension to be congealed awareness. Everything is awareness, but tension is congealed awareness that gathers in one area of our body. And that's what we talked about a little bit in the Doorways series for those of you who participated in it recently. So this tension is stuck energy. It reduces the flow of oxygen and nutrients to those parts of the body. And then that leads to tightness, discomfort, symptoms, and can even be disease. No oxygen and no nutrients to any part of the body are going to cause some problem at some point. So in this exercise, we're going to use the breath as our tool and our imagination as well, because we're going to imagine that the breath creates waves of light, white light or golden light if you prefer. You can pick the color you enjoy. The important thing is to recognize these waves of light as waves of relaxation. Okay, so we're going to use this meditation not only to relax, but for self-awareness. So it's a type of self-enquiry, and that's what we're going to be exploring today, is self-enquiry and how we use it at MICH. So the meditation will be our little introduction to that. Okay. So here we go into the self-enquiry to discover a little bit more about ourselves. So we like to say that coming to MICH is like going to a spa for your soul. So I'd like you to feel that right now, that this is a time for you, and this is a time that is exclusively for you. A little spa for your soul, for you. So get as comfortable as you can and sit back in your chair. And it's preferable that you close your eyes. I'm going to close mine too, so that you can really sink into yourself and sink into the sensations. Bring your awareness into your body and all the places where your body is in contact with the surface. And just notice those sensations, the sensation of your feet on the floor, of your thighs against the chair, your back against the chair. Notice where your arms lie and the sensation of whatever surface they're lying on. And then notice the sensation of the air as it moves into your nostrils and the gentle movements of breathing. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine the breath as a wave of white light that is coming in through your nostrils and moving in and around your eyes, relaxing and releasing any tension around your eyes, allowing the muscles around your eyes to let go, so that your eyeballs fall back into their sockets and are no longer strained, but very relaxed. We strain our eyes by trying to see and foresee. I like to call, when we try to foresee things, that it's forced seeing. Or we try to foresee what should happen, or how I think things should go, how I see things should go. So allow the in-breath to move into the eyes into the muscles, and to let go of trying to see and of trying to make things as you would like to see them. So let the eyes relax, sink back into their sockets. And with the next in-breath, allow the wave to go into your forebrain. The forebrain that is the center of scenarios of the what-ifs in your life. It's there that we create all of that tension and stress in your whole body. The tension in your nervous system, your muscles and your glands with all of that stress and the what-ifs. So let the wave of relaxation rinse away all the what-ifs, all the preoccupations, the worries and the thinking. Let them all go with the out-breath, like a wave carrying away debris and leaving behind a crystal clear lake. Then let the wave move through your brain, rinsing away all of your negative thoughts, memories, worries, planning, judgment, all that ongoing inner chatter, and all your programmed reactions. Just imagine them being carried away with the wave. And then let that wave or the next wave spread through your whole face, softening your cheeks, allowing the tension in your jaw to just release so that your jaw can let go. Everything that you hold in your jaw, your determination, holding on, not letting go of things, repressed anger, resentment. We're all like a dog with a bone. We hold it in our jaw. What bones do you pick? What do you hold on to? Let it all go with the out-breath. So that your whole face now is soft and glowing. The face of a newborn baby, seeing the world for the first time. A face that is open, relaxed. So now the in-breath can bring a wave that goes through your entire face and your eyes and your forehead and right into your scalp. And notice the tightness of your scalp. This is where we hold our fears and apprehensions. And imagine that the wave has warm golden fingers to massage and relax your scalp and release those fears so that your scalp becomes soft and pliable, so much so that your ears come down a little notch. And then with the next in-breath, allow the wave to go through your entire face and brain and head and down into your neck. All those what-ifs and straining to foresee makes us crane our necks forward, creating tension and knots in the neck. So let the wave release the neck, vertebra by vertebra, freeing up the muscles of the neck and the throat, opening the throat and allowing the head to sit comfortably on the neck, to sink into the body. The next wave is going to go into the shoulders, our shoulders, where we feel the tension of responsibility as if we carried weights on our shoulders, carrying all those imaginary shoulds. So let the wave of light carry them away. Allow your shoulders to feel relaxed and loose. And notice how the shoulder blades slide up along the rib cage with the in-breath and gently slide back down the rib cage with the release of the out-breath. A gentle rising and falling with each breath. As the breath now can move through your entire head and scalp, your neck and shoulders, and flow down into your arms and your elbows, your forearms and your hands. Letting the hands relax. Let go of grasping onto solutions, onto people, onto things. Let the hands open and let the energy run through your fingers. Feel the pulse of life energy, of chi, flowing into and through your hands. Life moving you, life breathing you. Life is flow. Worry has no place. Worry stops the flow, so let go of worry, let go of your attachment to results, of holding on, of grasping, and just allow the pulse of the life force to move through you unimpeded and naturally. The same life force is moving you gently, gently contracting the diaphragm so that you feel the gentle expansion of the rib cage. You are being breathed, being lived. Your belly is soft, filling with energy as the diaphragm loosens its tension. Our stuck emotions settle in the diaphragm, the chest, and the belly. Emotions are energy in motion, so let the energy flow through them and let them flow. If the buttocks are soft and not tight, then light can flow through them unimpeded, all the way from the nose, through the eyes, into the face and scalp, the neck and the shoulders, the chest, the belly and the buttocks, all the way through the thighs, releasing the self-protection that gets held in the thighs. And as the light moves through this bottom part of your body, through your legs, give up the stubbornness that make your knees stiff, allowing the energy to flow into your calves and through your ankles and out through your feet. Sink into the natural state of relaxation, the natural state of just being breathed, and allowing life to unfold as it will, as it does, without your control, without your interference. Life is awareness embodied, and all life activities are the movement of consciousness. Just enjoy that free flow. Enjoy what your body feels like now. Enjoy the gentle opening and closing of the arms, and the rising and falling of the shoulder blades, of the chest and of the belly. Feeling that life force that moves through you is the life force that moves through every human on the planet. We are all one soul, one breath, one movement, one life. And allow yourself to stay connected with that feeling, with that experience. As you gently open your eyes whenever you feel ready, and just note what you discovered. Where do you hold energy in your body? Was it in your eyes, your scalp? Did you feel it most in your neck or your shoulders? Or was it in your chest or belly, or your thighs or your knees, or your hands? Just as you're still there, take a note and write down those areas where you noticed that congealed awareness and whatever tension that may be held there. This would have been great on a rainy day, yeah. Put everybody to sleep. Oh. So as you're making note of that, I'd like to talk about how any one of these areas of tension is a doorway into a pattern that creates tension and stress and maybe even unease, discomfort, and dis-ease in you. So it's from one of these doorways that we begin our inquiry at MICH. Okay. So the first question to ask is, who's creating this tension? Which concept of me, of the I, is doing that? Is it the responsible me, the fearful me, the worrier, the planner, the controller, the procrastinator, the supermom, all of the above? Oh, sink into that and ask yourself that question. Which one of those me's creates tension in your life and in your body? So I thought I'd take a practical example just to give you an example of how that happens and what happens when awareness does get congealed and tension is. And there's a concept of me that holds awareness in one place of our body. So if you're a mother, or even if you're not, I'm sure you've heard about children in messy rooms. And, you know, the frustrated parent having to clean up the mess or deal with the mess. So the question I'd ask you is it the mess that is the problem? Or is it the idea of yourself that you hold? Okay, so let's look at a few possibilities. The parent who sees him or herself as the responsible me. Okay, so as a parent, my job is to make them responsible. They need to be responsible. This is a sign of their irresponsibility, of their immaturity. I have to correct that. Otherwise, they'll never take responsibility. Or maybe it's the worried me. They'll never learn. They'll grow up to be failures. Their spouses will leave them. No one will want to live with them. They'll end up living with me for the rest of my life. Might be a good thing or a bad thing. Or the resentful me. They don't respect me. They take me for granted. No one listens to me. I do all the dirt jobs. I have to do everything. I have no time for myself. Pull their weight. It all falls on my shoulders. Or is it the controlling me? I want everything to be in order. I have to keep order. I'm the only one who knows how to do that. They're making chaos in my house. I hate chaos. So, few examples of different subpersonalities, of different voices within us, of different concepts of the self. But it's all interpretation, isn't it? They're all just stories because all there is a messy room in reality. But on top of that reality is this overlay, an overlay of the story of me that creates tension and stress inside us and in our relationships. These stories do nothing to help the situation, and if anything, they make our situations worse and damage our relationships. The other thing we notice is that this is a really common situation, isn't it? With a common reaction. Kid's messy room and an angry parent. But notice that the cause of the reactions and the reactions themselves are different for every parent. So this is where our unique expression is there as well. except our unique expression is caught up in a concept of self and therefore in a misinterpretation and an overlay that is going to get in the way of my relationships and cause tension. If there were no overlays of interpretation coming from the me that we imagine ourselves to be, then we would just see the messiness as messiness and the natural outcome of all sorts of things, such as distractions, preoccupations, focus on friends, what friends say and do, how they see me, and all the things that adolescents are so engrossed in, just as that stage of their life. Right? So clarity about the concept of ourselves changes the way we approach our children, our loved ones, our friends, and life. So what we say and how we work with others is going to be much more appropriate for the situation if there's not that overlay of emotions, reactions, and interpretations coming from the stories of me. So what's key here is to see through those stories, seeing through the me that we think we are, the responsible me, the worried me, the caring me, the resentful me, the whatever me. We need to do that. We need to inquire. That's the basis of self-enquiry. Self-enquiry is a liberating process. And there's 4 key questions that we should ask. First one is, who is feeling this? What is the concept of self that's being challenged by this situation? It's the most important question to ask. We have to really sit with that. And sometimes we'll notice the same thread. We'll notice the same kind of inner chatter in all sorts of different situations. That the resentful me isn't only just at home, that it's in the relationship and it's at work and it's in other places. And then we look at, second question we ask is, what is the belief that this concept of self is based on? What is the belief? Because it's an interpretation, it's a belief. So I believe that I'm the only person who can do this. I believe that, my children are going to grow up irresponsible. I believe all of those things. It's interesting because when we think of the very basis or foundation of relationship is trust. And when we believe negative things about the people we love, it negates the trust. And it really destabilizes the relationship. We need to keep and hold the trust in others' ability to take care of themselves, to do what they need to do in life, to follow their path. It's a little word for the worriers. So what is the belief that that concept is based on? That's the second question. The third question is, and I guess a part of that second question, right? It was the belief that I'm holding about them, about the others. So what belief am I holding about myself? As what I'm taking on as my responsibility, and then what is the belief that I'm holding about them? And if you're doing it on your own, then you will go a little bit further and say, how can I question that belief? What other interpretations or explanations might also be valid? There's never a single cause and effect in anything in life. Life is not linear. It's anything but linear. Our thinking is linear, a little too much, but linear thinking has nothing to do with the living process or with life. And that's why medicine and biology struggle with with a too narrow and um, limited Cartesian view of the living organism and trying to bring everything down to cause and effect in a linear way. It's a holism. Life is not a mechanism. There are no mechanisms in the body. They're holisms. All living beings are expressions of holisms. So if we have one belief or one way of thinking, it's probably much too limited. There's never one right answer. There's never one way of seeing anything. So the question is about expanding, standing back, sitting back, trying to look at the whole picture and the hollow movement of life and everything that comes into play. And then if you're really good at doing that question, then you can ask yourself the next one, which is, who would I be without that belief, without that interpretation, without that sense of self, without that concept of self? If I didn't see myself as the responsible one, as the worrier, as the one who needs order and creates order, as the planner, how would I feel without that belief? How would I live? Who would I be? So there's no one answer to any of these. It's an exploration, it's an inquiry, and it's one that we can embark in at any given moment, and one that brings life to our relationships and frees us from going down the very tense road of holding on and holding on to our attention. So inquiry isn't about actively trying to install new beliefs, okay? It's not about affirmations and all of that kind of thing, or trying to reprogram our unconscious through self-suggestion and affirmation, okay? It really is a process that allows the brain to see its process. Our brain is intelligent enough to learn through experience. When we examine with an open mind and open ourselves to a different way of experience things, the brain as a self-learning system is going to work with that in an organic process and see its own limitations. It's going to see how it's limiting itself and limiting its reactions and its responses. So it's really important that there be a re-experiencing, an honest re-experiencing of where we get stuck. So at MICH, we go a little bit further with this exercise. Our case taking isn't a mental process, it's not a psychological process. It really does require a re-experiencing of the energy of an event that is typical of one of our reactions, but re-experiencing it from a bigger perspective. We can go more deeply when someone else is helping us to expand our view to a bigger picture. So self-inquiry alone is very helpful and can bring a lot of insight, but doing it with someone else who's objective and who's just holding space for us and helping us inquire is even more powerful. You know, it's tempting to think that, oh, we can think ourselves out of our dilemmas and conflicts. Actually, when we do that, when we believe that, excuse me, that's another belief, is that I can think myself out of my problems. It's probably the thinking that got you into the problem in the first place. So I don't think it's going to be thinking that's going to get you out of the problem. And it's not a lack of knowledge that keeps us in our patterns. Yeah, it's our experiences. That's how we see those experiences. So changing comes down to experiences that have to happen in your nervous system. It's not about inquiring new information. It's not enough about just to know intellectually. So in the process, we need to create a space with our clients where we can both be as absorbed as possible in an inner simulation of what happened so that you are mentally and emotionally present in the situation that you're working with. Because when you're in that state, then your whole body is involved. And that's how you can form new experiences. That's how you can explore in a deeper way. Okay, so if we go back to our example of the messy room. Okay, we want to know who is the who that's upset. We want to fully experience the energy of the me that feels so responsible, that worries or feels resentful. We would re-experience what it's like to be in that situation. What images come up? What emotions are felt? How we act in that situation? How you treat people around you when you're in that place. Go into the interpretations with our imagination so that we re-experience the full scenario with our inner simulators. As part of the process, we slow things down and we become aware of the step-by-step unconscious processes that cause the emotional state and the perceived limited ways of how we can react in a situation. You probably notice that in certain situations, your reactions are like faster than lightning. Someone says something that triggers you and it's like snap, it's immediate. Well, we have to deconstruct that and see what is actually happening in the organism as you hear the words, as you get triggered. And when we do that, it opens up the possibilities. We see other ways that we could have responded. So it opens up our range of responses, the possibilities, and undoes the programmed, hardwired reactions. So our brain quickly sees that it's limited in its reactions. And so whatever got hardwired, whatever seems so immediate, starts loosening it up so that other synapses can happen. Other ways of responding can happen. So in the process, when we're in that state, when we're reliving the experience, we explore the physical sensations associated with the experience. Where are the areas of tension? What's happening in the body as you're telling me this story, as you're imagining yourself in front of that messy room? Where are you feeling the tension? What are you feeling? Maybe you have butterflies in your stomach. Maybe you feel like the blood is rushing to your head. Maybe you feel some kind of compression. Maybe you feel squeezed. Maybe your throat is getting tight. So we really get into it so that you can go into the sensations that you feel in those moments. And the more deeply you go into any perception or sensation, the more clearly and vividly you experience it as energy. You start experiencing the non-solidity, the impermanence, and the spaciousness and the emptiness of it. Through gestures and images, we ask the client to imagine a picture, what comes to mind, what images in nature, what is that like? It's an as if. And through those images and through the gestures that just naturally come with those images, we're both able to re-experience the dynamic movement of the sensation and the energy of those moments. And we come to a profound understanding of that energy pattern and all aspects of that energy pattern that creates the sense of me and blocks the flow. Way beyond the words, way beyond the concepts, is an underlying energy, is an underlying energetic pattern that recreates that sense of self and recreates those scenarios. That's why we can't do it through the mind alone or through thought alone. It has to be a whole experience in a very special context. So then that's when the brain sees for itself that the energy experienced has been created through imagination and imagery by an underlying pattern. And it also sees that those reactions actually have nothing to do with this moment in time and with what's happening right now. So once we have that pattern, then we've explored it, we then inquire with the client who they would be without that pattern. We go to that number 4 question. And if they feel great relief and talk about being free, happy, peaceful, content, and blissful, then we know, okay, we've got it. This is the core of the disease that they experience, the core of their suffering. And it is that pattern then that we know we're going to match to a homeopathic remedy so that the energy blockage is released, along with the defended sense of me. That story of me is finally let go. So this is the process that's most transformative. It's the pillar of everything we do at MICH. Because the inquiry reveals the inner workings of the individual and how stress is created and the underlying energy patterns of the individual, we have a sense of their constitution, of how they are energetically, of what their organizational principle looks like and how it moves and what kind of dynamics it has. And usually when we come to that understanding, we then understand why they crave certain foods, why they would be addicted to certain things, and which things. And of course, those things are naturally dissolved at the remedy as well. So once that pillar is in place, once we have that central remedy, we've addressed the cause of suffering. We've addressed the distortions and the stress that those distortions cause. And then we clearly see what else might be needed to help the organism come to full functioning. Because now the person is out of his or her own way. So now whatever help or sustenance, whatever tools and resources that we're going to use, whatever we offer the organism can be fully utilized towards the healing process. So that's where we use diet and naturopathy. Because honestly, the vast majority of people know what they should eat or shouldn't eat. But the problem is that they have cravings, they have addiction, or a distorted relationship to nourishment and food. And those problems can be addressed with homeopathy. So we address those problems first with homeopathy. And then, yes, any kind of diet can be followed much more easily. And wonderful things can be accomplished with diet. And if there's a chronic dysfunction, then maybe we need other homeopathic supports or preparations, and maybe some naturopathic preparations as well that are going to support the function, support the certain organs, whatever might be in the chronic illness. So that's why we work with all three. The homeopathy being the pillar, being the tonic, being that central signal that frees the life force from being congealed and in knots and stuck in certain areas of the body and creating disease, both in and out, inside ourselves and our brain going like a squirrel on a wheel, as well as our physical energy and life force that then is freed up to do the healing that it needs to do. Almost every situation can be healed naturally. The body very often has everything it needs to do that, but we're in the way. So that's how we use all three. The holistic approach, a deep understanding of homeopathy that brings that holistic whole person approach to life, and then the naturopathy and the diet to help support the whole healing process and give the body extra support if it needs it. And so that's why for us it's incomplete unless you do all three, unless you get the 3 diplomas. And that's why the program at MICH has those 3 as an interlocking whole, as a synergistic intervention a synergistic, holistic intervention that addresses the individual as a whole on all levels. And people not only have the satisfaction of their physical symptoms going away, but they also have improved relationships, feel better about themselves, find that they have more energy, more positivity, more optimism. And their mind is freer to enjoy life rather than being caught in the wheel of repeated thoughts. So the program is about becoming fully certified in all three, with training that's internationally recognized, the benefits of being able to give insurance receipts and tax receipts. You're covered by professional insurance. And most importantly, you're confident and professional, because by the time you have graduated, you have treated 55 people that are happy with you and will refer you to others. And that's quite an accomplishment. We help you, of course, in that accomplishment through one-on-one supervision, help with your cases, supervising your cases, being there when you meet the client, on Zoom in the background. So the invisible presence in the room, but we can be there to help you determine what that person needs and how to go about what they need, and how to treat the whole person and everything that might be needed to support them in their healing process. So the program, it is an online program. It has all the benefits of an online program. You can download and listen to the class recordings. We have a lot of in-class recordings, audio-visual presentations with lots of imagery. We love pictures. We love to have things that are very well explained. And I have this love for charts and pictograms that really, help your brain just see it very clearly without the words, without a whole bunch of text, that we can actually get a picture of what's happening. So you can download all of those things, the audiovisual presentations and the recordings, and you can listen to them anywhere at any time at your convenience while you're waiting in one of those eternal lines, Provigo, or on the phone or doing your laundry. But at the same time, in each course, you're going to be meeting with your teacher. So as you go through the course at a certain time, you're going to be reminded to set up an appointment at a time that is mutually convenient for you and the teacher, times that work for you, so that you can be brought through some practical applications, that you can have that time and that space to ask the questions that you want to ask. And the teacher has the wonderful opportunity of really getting to know you well, of seeing and helping you in the areas where you have strengths and helping you in the areas where you might have weaknesses, help support you there and tell you how you can improve those areas. Those one-on-one hours, those one-on-one sessions are gold mines. They're really a unique opportunity to be with someone with 25 years or sometimes more experience, who can really help you and be a mentor to help you find your way into the career of your dreams. You also get to meet with your colleagues. We have almost 30 people in the foundation and level 1 level right now. So you have lots of people that you can practice with. There's a lot of practice exercises, live practical exercises. We really encourage you to do them with each other, to meet each other. That's the way that you build up a relationship with everybody at MICH. And these are wonderful relationships that, as we've seen over the years, are lifetime relationships, at least so far. So even way after you graduate, these are people that you're going to be sharing your cases with, that you're going to be dialoguing with. You learn a process of dialogue where we enter into a space, which is the space that we hold not only with the client in session, but when we help each other with our cases. So we enter into a dialogue of the case to go deeply into the case, to help see what the core suffering might be, to help understand that underlying pattern. So you'll be doing that right from day one. You'll be learning dialogue, you'll be practicing it with your colleagues, practicing it with your teachers, and building. I don't know if the word is building or really bringing to light and life the powers of your instrument, your inner knowing, your awareness, your capacity to hold space, to be in stillness, to allow for inquiry and to allow for insight to happen, to use your organism as your instrument is really the whole goal of the program. It's not about information. It's about a new experience. It's about learning to use the human body, the human being, the human organism in very creative ways. I'm always, I don't know what the word is, amazed. Maybe that's the best word, amazed by what the human beings in earlier times were able to sense and record. When you think of it, you know, what is it, 2000, how many thousands of years ago were the acupuncture points felt into, the nadis, and all of that understanding that goes into Chinese medicine and yogic and Ayurvedic medicine. They did that without test tubes and microscopes and machines. They did that with their organisms. And there was a profound understanding that came out of that that holds true to today. You know, we've used the most advanced science to trace the so-called meridians, thinking they weren't there, except when we inject a little bit of some isotopes into where the acupuncture points are. What we see under a sensitive instrument is the exact pathways in the exact places that those ancients felt them and saw them. So there's a lot of potential in this human organism. And maybe we've gotten over-reliant on our concepts and our ideas and our rational thinking. And we've forgotten the art of living wholly and fully with all of our organism, our whole body, mind, and all of creation, and all of the awareness that we have available to us, because we are that awareness. We are the universal awareness of life. So that's what MICH is about. It's very hard to capture in a nutshell, but that's the best I can do, at least in the time that I have, without keeping you back from the sunny day too much.